Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, General Manager DeMarcoSports.com, and this is going to be your Wednesday video report. 15-3 roll with the complimentary plays here on the video in college hoops over the past couple of weeks. 15 out of 18 with the plays I'm giving away for free. Two more selections coming up today. Big 12 tournament, Kansas and Cincinnati. Big 10 tournament, Michigan and Penn State, both coming up in just a moment. Now, yesterday I took a pass. Not only here on the video report, but also on the website, no premium play, because Tuesday of this week, when you have all the big power conferences getting underway with their conference tournaments, I don't like Tuesdays, for the reason being that generally Tuesday is the loser's day. You have the bottom of the barrel teams that really shouldn't be playing in the conference tournaments, battling each other out. You know what I always say, you don't put good money on bad teams. So I just couldn't find anything that had any value, not even for the plays that I give away, because bottom line, I do try to win these comp plays too. Now, you did have some of the smaller conferences completing their tournaments yesterday, specifically the Colonial, which was won by College of Charleston. And of course, you had the West Coast Conference, where St. Mary's got revenge against Gonzaga. And what was the other one? The Horizon League, where Oakland covered against Wisconsin-Milwaukee, but none of them had any appeal. So took a pass yesterday, back and forth today. FYI, since I didn't do a video yesterday, just a quick note, yesterday was a 4-year anniversary of what I thought could have possibly been the end of this business, because it was 4 years ago today, March 12th. I'll never forget, I was actually in the doctor's office in the waiting room, waiting to go in to get my test results, which ultimately gave me my prognosis for what I have now. And going in, I get a call from Trace Adams, who tells me the Big East tournament, they had pulled the players, I think, off the floor, and they had canceled that tournament. And I think I had to play on Seton Hall or Marquette that day. And I said, well, hey, just take my site offline, and I'll worry about it after I get out of the doctor's office visit, right? And by the time I get out of the doctor's office, well, March Madness had been canceled. And of course, the night before, you may recall, that was when Rudy Gobert, a bozo if there ever was one, with his complaints now alleged that, what was it this week, that officials are being influenced by sports betting in terms of the fouls that they're being called. Yeah, he and Aaron Rodgers, really, they should run on an independent ticket for some type of office, because they're both clowns. Anyway, moving on, and of course the night before, the NBA canceled their season. Now, I've been in this business since like 1989. I created these websites almost 22 years ago. I have seen this business survive every single strike, and there have been devastating strikes. The NFL strike back in the late 80s, or early 90s, where you had the scab players playing. Oh, that was unique. The baseball strikes have been the most crippling, because there have been no other sports to support the company. But that day, March 12th, 4 years ago, calling everybody and laying everybody off, we were no different than any other business in this economy of ours. You had a commodity that nobody was interested in, because there was nothing left. And not knowing when sports would resume. That was the scary part. So when sports finally resumed, I think it was like the third week in July, in the interim, every single handicapper, all the support staff, everybody was gone. Some of them were lucky enough to go on unemployment. I sat there and watched Netflix and for 4.5 months. And actually, I have to be honest with you, I really enjoyed, for the first time in my life since I was like 20 years old, not watching sports. Can't wait to do that again in about a year. But yeah, so interesting. 4 years has gone by. But anyway, let's get to your complimentary plays. Listen, the first game, Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite against Kansas. I don't see how you can possibly play Kansas. Top two scorers, who combine to average a little over 36 points a game, are out, injured. And those two guys also combine to average, off the top of my head, I want to say almost 16 rebounds a game. Now, I look at this line, And I realize it's because people are going, oh, well, it's Kansas. It's Bill Self. These are the Jayhawks. They should be a bigger underdog in this game. But because of the mystique about the Kansas Jayhawks, they are only a 2.5-point underdog. On paper, I don't see how Kansas competes. Now, did they just get shellacked by Houston when Hunter Dickinson went out with the shoulder injury early in that game? Yes. Do they get shellacked by Cincinnati? No. I mean, listen, props to Cincinnati for coming back from a double-digit deficit. I think they were down by 14 or 16 points against West Virginia yesterday and winning that game with a huge surge, especially from three-point land. After just blowing out West Virginia at home on Saturday, it's never easy to beat a team twice in less than 72 hours, but they did it. And Cincinnati has been up and down all season. It's not that the Bearcats are that good, but you look at the depth that Kansas has, and you tell me where they're going to replace nearly 37 points and 16 rebounds a game. I just don't see it. So I have to go with Cincinnati. It's just, again, on paper, the logical play to make. How many times, however, have you seen the team that is missing the key player, that's missing its MVP, that's missing its top scorer, win? It is gambling after all. There are no guarantees, as I've been saying for years, right? But the other play, I got to go with Michigan. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I would never go with Michigan. What the hell am I saying? I got to go with Penn State minus the 6.5 points over Michigan. Now, listen, Penn State, when these two met at the Palestra in Philadelphia, it was technically a home game for the Lions. Penn State won that game 79-73. Be aware that Penn State's leading scorer, who was dismissed from the team back on Valentine's Day, I believe it was, had 18 points in that game. He was their second leading scorer that day. Even though he's been dismissed from the team nearly a month ago, he is still their leading scorer at 16.7 points a game. So that guy is not playing tonight, okay? But in that game, it was a game where Michigan was up by 14 points in the first half, but then collapsed. 19 turnovers for the Wolverines in that game. Just a miserable game. But then it's been a miserable season for the Wolverines. I don't know how Juwan Howard has a job, to be honest with you. 8-23 straight up, 8-23 against the spread, 2-9 in true road games. A team that has lost 8 in a row and 18 out of 20. Their last road win was December 10th at Iowa. Since then, they've lost 14 games. And 12 of those 14 have been by double digits. You think this team is just going to go turn the switch and suddenly play great today? They're an awful defensive team. I got to lay the points with Penn State. I mean, the Lions had lost 2 straight, and they were both on the road, but then they did beat Maryland rather easily in their home finale on Saturday, 85-69. So again, I've got to go with the Lions. Of these two plays, I would say Cincinnati would be number 1, Penn State would be number 2. So there you go. Those are your complimentary plays for today. I wish you well, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Good luck, everybody.